Good to know you're still there. Thanks for joining us again on News Night on Arise News, reaching you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. The chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Navy, Yusuf Gagdi, has unveiled his programs for the House if elected Speaker of the 10th Assembly, with a promise to ensure that the voices of the disenfranchised are heard in the Parliament. Gagdi, while speaking at the event in Abuja, said 24 years into the Fourth Republic, the citizens are expecting more from their representatives in the legislature. He says the ability of the House to meet the expectations of the people depends on the capacity and dedication of members. Gagdi stressed the need to elect a leadership that will ensure that the 10th House is able to meet the high expectations of the people from the Parliament.
I have had the opportunity in the course of serving to observe and learn from my most senior colleagues in the House. It has been a privilege to serve under the distinguished leadership of my boss, Right Honorable Femi Hakim Bajabia Mila, and to learn from his experience and expertise. I'm grateful for his example of leadership and service. I thank him for his service to our nation, and I look forward to building on his achievement in office. Why are we failing? Why is it that we don't have tar road to my village, Gagdi? Why is it that we don't have hospitals across Nigeria? Why is it that our educations are not working? Is it because we don't have the natural resources and the money to provide for those things? The answer is no. It is because the Parliament have failed in its responsibility of discharging sincere oversight commitments. If we oversight the executive the way it is supposed to be oversight, projects implemented the way they are supposed to be implemented, definitely we will have a better Nigeria. I assure Nigerians, and I assure Mr. President-elect, that Yusuf Gagdi will provide that robust support for him to succeed in ensuring Nigeria is transformed as one of the best world economies.
And joining us now to actually discuss his ambition to become the Speaker of the 10th Assembly is, of course, Yusuf Gagdi. He is a former Deputy Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly and, of course, the current Chairman, House Committee on Navy. Yusuf, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program. And, of course, let's get straight to it. You are 42. You are a second-time member of the House of Representatives. And, of course, you're going up against, some would say, some heavyweights, including the current Deputy Speaker, who is from your state of Plateau. So the number one question I want to ask you, what do you think your chances are really going up against, people who some would say are ranking, using the terms from the Assembly?
Well, you're asking me three questions in one. One, my chances of winning. I'm optimistic because I've won election to become a member of the House of Representatives. And I'm a faith believer in the fact that God gives power to whosoever he so desires. If it is me, all things being equal, I move on, I ensure I become the best speaker. If it is not me, life goes on because it is God that gives that power. Secondly, ranking, yes, is a parliamentary time, and I respect ranking. But again, I have said it variously, that it is understood variously. Some people see it as ranking the number of time you spend in Parliament. I see it as the impact you make in Parliament, how you've touched the life of your people, how you've made legislation as a Parliament, what laws have you put in place, because the power of the Parliament is to make laws for order, peace, and good governance. Then what have you done in terms of lawmaking? I have done the best I can do, and I've said that today. So I respect, thirdly, I respect the Deputy Speaker, who is a ranking member, a senior brother from Plateau. But remember, he represents a constituency. I equally represent a constituency from Plateau. He has a destiny. I have a destiny. It doesn't stop us from pursuing our destiny whatsoever.
Right.
Interesting. We see that governors of the APC and, of course, National Assembly caucus and other leaders of the party rooting for you, perhaps because of many works that you've already done in the past. But yet again, we're not going to rule out the possibility of the opposition fighting back, fighting hard to ensure that, yes, that you don't get that. What are you going to do? They call themselves the greater majority. Are you threatened about the greater majority?
Well, again, I speak my mind. I don't care how people understand. The most important thing is if I don't undermine people. Greater majority, again, is sound greater majority, but it understood variously again. The opposition may have the number more than the APC, the ruling party. But how sure are you that the oppositions are completely opposition? I'm aware there are people that due to some injustice meted to them in APC, they left to other platform to pursue their destiny and they got it. They could be described as opposition physically, but within their soul, they are not opposition. So I'm optimistic that we're not talking about the number. I'm sure, even in the opposition themselves, there are APC opposition among the opposition.
Okay, having APC opposition in the opposition is one thing, but are you actually reaching out to them to ensure that you actually get their support for your quest?
I am one parliament that don't believe in political affiliation when it comes to even interaction and relationship in the parliament. Because when you are elected a member under a particular platform, by the time you go into the assembly, you leave your political party aside and you talk about the country. So I see myself as a Nigerian who is working with other 359 Nigerians, and you cannot be speaker without reaching out to them. By the way, I have said that I'm not going to be a speaker for APC. I'm not going to be a speaker for Muslim. I'm not going to be speaker for Central Zone. I am going to be a speaker, if elected, for the Nigerian people.
So your answer basically is yes, you are reaching out to the opposition. Okay, so now this takes me to my next question, really. Listening to you earlier on in the day, you talked about the fact that you plan to be someone who brings the reform that the Nigerian people needs through the House of Representatives. You need to expatiate on that. And also, let's look at the fact that what are you bringing to the table, really? Because let's not forget, we have some major contenders. We cannot just ignore them. What are you bringing to the table, and why do you think you deserve to be speaker?
As a contender, a contestant, what I'm expected to bring on the table is my experience. And how do I define experience here? I've said elsewhere that the power of the gavel is not a new thing to me. Being one time presiding officer in the State Assembly, the differences is not too much. I have been privileged to be elected as a member of the State House of Assembly and as a deputy speaker to preside over the State Assembly. Secondly, I have said it again, constitutionally, the responsibility of a parliament primarily is to make laws.
Absolutely.
And how do you make laws? For peace, order, and good governance. In addition to the secondary function of discharging oversight responsibility, I have done that maximally to the best of my ability. And I've said that I am qualified in the sense that within 3 years, not even 4 years, of my being in the House of Representatives, I have sponsored 21 bills. Out of those 21 bills, Mr. President have assented to 6 of my private member bills. And this is a record that I think, if you search the 4 angles of archive of the National Assembly, I don't think there is that member of the House of Representatives that within 3 years passed, sponsored, pushed, lobby for 21 bills, which 6 have been assented to by Mr. President. So, if parliaments are to make laws, and I have come within 3 years, I have pushed for 21 legislation, and 6 have received the blessing of the President, I'm in the Guinness Book of Records as far as Parliament is concerned. So I think I'm qualified to, even by virtue of that. Secondly, I am someone that, although I wouldn't want to discuss it, but let me say it for the purpose of satisfying the question you've asked me, I represent Panshin Kanke Kanan Federal Constituency, 3 local governments. I'm a Muslim. My constituency are 70% Christian. Can you tell me 1 or 2 politicians that, based on the 2023 election, that is full of religiosity, ethnicity and what have you, that is coming from a Muslim faith, whereas he is contesting election in the 70% Christian-dominated constituency that will be elected for the second time, it tells you the kind of relationship and reaching out and how I have represented my people so far in the last 4 years. So, if that is the case, and looking at the contemporary issues within Nigeria, issue of insecurity, issue of mutual distrust among the different regions in Nigeria, I think my background coming from a Christian-dominated constituency and as a Muslim, I have the qualification to preside over the 10th House of Representatives. In addition to the fact that I mean well, and I have said it, leadership comes from God.
You see, your confidence is remarkable, I must say, but then let's also look at other options. Honorable Tajuddin Yusuf has reportedly been endorsed by the president-elect for the speakership position, the same position that you are vying for. How do you see that jeopardizing your ambition?
It doesn't. One, I see it as mere speculation, because as an elected representative of the people, someone that is serving member of the House of Representatives, I need to be told I am one of the stakeholders of the party. If there is any decision like that, until I am informed, I will believe it. But as far as it is now, I see it as a mere speculation. But assuming it is, let me assume it is not a big issue. It doesn't stop me from contesting. I have given, during the unveiling of my manifesto, I've said something, and I say it with utmost respect. The president-elect is someone I respect. He knows me. I'm his grandson. He's a talent hunter, and I've said that I'm one of the talent he's hunting for. But again, I'm not saying that for him to endorse me. I have seen election take place in 2022, the primary election of APC, that brought Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a candidate, where some politics happened, but northern governors came up to say no. If North have produced presidency for 8 years, ideally it is good to be shifted to the southern part of the country. I respect them for taking that position in the spirit of equity, justice, fairness. Now, he wasn't endorsed by the president. It was only zoned to the southern part of Nigeria, and President Asiwaju, president-elect Asiwaju, contested among many other candidates. His capacity, his record, made him to be elected by 8 delegates of APC. So I'm equally of the opinion that let the speakership be zoned to North Central, where I'm coming from, because in the Northwest have in the past produced speaker 4 times, where you have Salisu Buhari, Aminu Bello Masari, Tambuwal,
But the argument right now is that the Northwest gave your party, the APC, the biggest numbers in the last election. And of course, Tajuddin Abbas happens to come from Kaduna State,
but
which
again,
is in the
let me
Northwest.
ask you, when the northern governors said that presidency should move to the south, they know that the vote in the north is bigger than the vote in the south. But in the spirit of fairness, they say you should go there. But again, without undermining my zone, the North Central. North Central in presidential election and governorship election have delivered 4 and 5 states respectively. The Northwest delivered 2 states in presidential election.
Right.
The Northeast delivered 1 state, but North Central delivered 4 states. Then where is the fairness? If Northwest have produced 4 speakers in the past, Northeast have produced 1 in the past, from 1999 till date, North Central have never produced, and yet they have delivered 4 states and 5 states in governorship and presidential election, more than the state delivered by the Northwest and the Northeast. Why is the fairness to warrant what happened in presidential zoning not to happen in the National Assembly, particularly the House of Representatives?
Well, we'll have to wait and see where your party really zones, these key positions too. But in the meantime, before we let you go, we need to really talk beyond party affiliations and what's not. Nigeria, some would say, those of you who are in leadership, they don't envy you because of the myriad of challenges currently bedeviling the nation, from the economy to security and what's not. So what kind of speaker do you think Nigeria actually needs at the moment?
Speaker for the Nigerian people, and I'm going to be one of those, because I am a student I'm a teacher. I'm a security expert, being a master's holder in conflict management and peace studies, in intelligence and global securities, and a PhD in view in security and strategic studies. Having chaired Navy committee and having oversight Navy. I think
Nigerians should expect a speaker for the Nigerian people. Speaker that will want to make records. Speaker that after 4 years, Nigeria will know that he has supported the executive arm of government to deliver dividends of democracy at the four angles of Nigeria. And definitely by the special grace of God, if elected, it will be a covenant between me and the Nigerian people to provide that service. I will be a servant speaker. I will serve the people of Nigeria by representing them.
Honorable Gagdi, we must thank you for your time on the show tonight.
Thank you.
What's now left is for us to wish you all the best in your endeavors.
Absolutely. We'll keep a tab
I
and,
claim
of
it.
course.
I'll continue to pray with you.
All right. Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, of course, is vying for the speakership of the 10th Assembly.